Howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome aboard, episode 225.
Yes.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm a doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy do, Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week and you've all managed to do something. Doctor Who related. If you can.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of Doctor Who still. I think it's still on Netflix in the UK.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't have Netflix, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. And over in the US, I think they still have a service called BritBox.
Oh, gosh, I remember that.
And I think Doctor Who is on there. I could be wrong, but I think so.
I might have to do a little trial subscription to Netflix. You know, like you can have a little trial of it because there's a new thing with David Tennant and Michael Sheen. And you told me about it. I can't remember what it's called. What's that thing called?
Oh,
where David's the devil and Michael Sheen's like an angel, I think.
Oh, something demons.
Yeah, it's a Terry Pratchett thing, isn't it?
Terry Pratchett.
You told me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you told me about it, and I immediately looked at the trailer, and it looks amazing. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I must watch this." And then it comes up at the end, Netflix exclusive drama, and I'm like, "Oh no, it's on blimmin' Netflix! I haven't got it." So I might have to take a little subscription out just to watch that, and then immediately cancel it.
Cancel, yeah.
Well, I remember we did have it before. I think I got it for Stranger Things, and then we kind of like, once we'd finished series 1 and 2, we were looking through it, and there's so much on Netflix, so much. And we sort of started a few things and then got bored after a couple of episodes of everything we watched, and then so we cancelled it. We just couldn't get into anything else. So, but that does look awesome, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Good Omens.
That's the one.
Good Omens, yeah. It does look very cool. Yeah.
Trailers, yeah, really good.
Yeah, indeed. Welcome aboard the TARDIS, everybody, new listeners who have jumped on board recently. Thank you very much. Those of you that have left reviews on iTunes as well, thank you very much for that. We had another 2 or 3 that dropped in the last week or so. Thank you so much for that. It's really appreciate taking the time out of your day to jump on there and write a little review. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Thank you so much. And also to long-term listeners as well. Our grizzled ancients, our guys that have been putting up with our nonsense for years now.
How long have we been going now? 4 years? More? Less?
Well, the podcast started in March 2014.
Right.
And together, I think we've been doing it since something like July or August of that year together.
Yeah.
So it'll be Well, yeah, it's 5 years now. 5 years last week.
I was going to say, so have we just gone past an anniversary? Well, because you were, solo when you started. So you started in March.
Yeah, 14th of March.
Have you just gone past it? Wow.
Yeah, 5 years.
Wow, goes quick, doesn't it? I can remember when you asked me on like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you want to come on? I was thinking, yeah, I thought I'd play it cool. I'll be like, yeah, I could do.
Yeah, it's like, he was all right.
I think I was going to say, I was just listening to the intro as well because I was with our good friend Adam, very tall Adam, on Monday, and he was saying, I've been trying to work out which stories each clip from your intro's from, because I think he did that with the last one, didn't he?
Oh, that's right.
And he managed to get them all right. He said, I've got the Pertwee one. I know that's not from a Pertwee story. And I was like, what do you mean it's not from a Pertwee story? He goes, it's from the Five Doctors. I'm like, oh,
it is,
and even tweet. So he's got that one. He's obviously got the first one. So yeah, I love it. He's going through. I can't remember which one that he said he was stuck on, but yeah, next time I see him, I'll ask him if he's finished it, and then I'll pass you his list and see if he's got them all right. You can mark it like a school teacher. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, because I still got the notes from when I researched what quotes to put in. So I've got all the episode stories that they're from.
I was listening really because it came into my head as you were playing the intro in, and I was going through them in my head thinking, okay, yeah, I know that one. There was a couple there I didn't know, but yes, I shall ask him next time, see if he's finished the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was with him on Monday. We were buying our Macra Terrors.
Oh, right.
Went out to a shop.
You went out to a shop?
Yeah, an actual shop. Yeah.
Crikey.
I know.
Was it a good experience for you?
Yeah. There's something about, because, I've ordered like season 18 and stuff. I ordered it online, and it's really nice to get it early with a lot of people when everyone's posted their pictures. I've got it, and, all that sort of stuff. But, I was at home editing a video on Monday, and Dad texted me and said, I'm going out to buy Macra. Are you free? And it was really nice and sunny on Monday. I was thinking, do you know what? Let's go and get some air in my lungs and go and get Macra Terror. So, I went out with him. And it was cool because we've obviously sat there with our copies in the pub afterwards. And it was a nice thing.
Cool.
To meet up with a fellow Who fan. Thing is, I did order the Steelbook online, though. I got that from Zoom, our good old friends at Zoom. And that did arrive early, actually. I got back on Saturday. And that was waiting for me when I got home, so that was nice. But
nice.
Which one did you get? Steelbook?
So the Steelbook, yeah.
Yeah. Have you opened it yet?
I've opened it, but I've not watched it yet.
It kind of pains me to open Steelbooks because they look so nice sealed.
They do.
And as soon as you open them, because it's got that card slip case and stuff, and I don't know, it's sort of it's lovely, but I always think they look their best when they're all sealed and new. Like my Cushion movies have got a little bit. I've got Steelbooks of both of them, and they've got a little bit scratched, even though I'm really careful with them. They're quite easy to scratch, aren't they? So I always hate actually opening them, if that makes sense. But it's a nice Steelbook. Got to say, it's really nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know who did the artwork, but it's really nice.
Very nice indeed.
The woman in Sainsbury's said, which is where we bought the Macra, said, when she saw the cover, because they have to take it out of the big plastic security box that they put it in, she's like, what on earth is that on the cover? And I was like, that's a Macra, thinking she won't know. She's like, none the wiser, dear. I said, that was basically a giant crab.
Yeah, basically,
She goes, oh, you Doctor Who fans. Just like that. But she was in a nice way.
Right.
Nice. Yeah. And so that was...
I was going to say, cheeky old cow.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Just take it out of the box and take the money.
Exactly. But I was on the I'd gone to the self-checkout, which meant it was she had to come all the way over because the light flashed, because it was, a DVD, a Blu-ray in a box, and she had to unbox it and stuff. So yeah.
It's a strange thing, isn't it, dealing with people that don't really know a lot about Doctor Who, and certainly can't appreciate some of the levels of fandom around it. I remember, I think this time last year maybe, or something like that. I remember phoning up a couple of Sainsbury's shops asking about, I can't remember what I asked.
Vinyl, probably.
The vinyl, yeah, and that was a disaster.
Yeah.
The woman didn't even know what Doctor Who was. Never heard of it, let alone, if she got anything in stock. I was like, this is going bad. This is not going well. I thought, as soon as she said, what's that? Doctor Who what? Doctor Who. Oh, I don't know anything about Doctor Who. As soon as she said that, I was like, this is not going to end well.
You end up with Doc Martin or something on, but yeah, we've got it.
Yeah, oh, crikey. But yeah, it's
Father
strange,
Brown.
isn't it, when people, because we're just so, it's our world basically, isn't it? It's how could anyone not know what Doctor Who is or anything about it? So when you come across people that are just completely, like you said, is when she sort of, in a nice way, sort of rolled her eyes, like, she got no
What's
time
that?
for it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's weird, isn't it?
Count yourself lucky you don't buy any of the B&M sets, because if you want to experience that, notched up to 10, then phone B&M and ask them about Doctor Who. Blimey.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, they are yeah, they don't make finding their Doctor Who products easy, I can tell you.
You'd have thought that the staff in those shops would have got some, or they do get some kind of like memo or like a weekly update from head office or something that's on the notice board out the back. You'd have thought they'd have something like that said, this week we're promoting this new Doctor Who set, and that Doctor Who fans go mental for it. So it looks like this, it's priced at this much. So you're probably going to get phone calls about it. So it's this thing, but it's surprising they don't do that.
No, I've had some nightmare experiences on the phone to them. I will say, actually, to contrast that, though, I did with the last set, I spoke to a guy actually in store who was really helpful. So, not all bad at B&M, but yeah, I've had some absolutely horrific phone calls with them trying to explain what I'm after. And you give them the product code, and the annoying thing is with B&M sets is they use, every time they release a new set, they use the same code for it, which means it's almost impossible for them to tell you if they've got, for example, the TARDIS set, the new one, the Fourth Doctor, had the same code as the Third Doctor set from last year. So you've just no way of knowing if actually what they're telling you on the system is the new or old. It's very, it's not all their fault, but
yes.
It is a nightmare, mate. Yeah.
I must say, shameless plug, your review for the Fourth Doctor Regen TARDIS set, very good, mate.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, I took a while getting that done, but I was pleased with the end result, because I kept thinking, if I don't get this review out soon, no one's going to care. The set's been out for 3 weeks, and some people got theirs out like the next day. It sometimes amazes me how quickly a YouTuber can get a product and do a review. And but yeah, I like to tinker around, and I put some TARDIS sound effects on it and all sorts. And yeah, so hopefully it's still relevant. But yeah, I was pleased when I finally got that out there.
That's good. YouTube, The Geek's Handbag. Go and check it.
Go and have a look. Yeah,
and have a looky. I really haven't been up to much, mate. Doctor, I know you were out at another event, weren't you?
Yeah. I popped out to Phantom at the weekend.
That's right.
In Chiswick. Actually, a great day. Started off so bad as well. Because
Here we
with
go.
all this Brexit stuff, there was a big march going on in London, big protest, and I barely could get on the train. I mean, I was when I say crushed against the door, I mean actually crushed against the door on the train. People just couldn't get on because there were so many people getting out to protest. So I spent like a 50-minute journey into London, just literally crushed against the door, which constantly opened because it had a sensor on it. It was the most uncomfortable journey, and I was on it. And after about even 10 minutes, I was thinking, I want to go home. I don't think this event's going to be worth putting myself through this, because every stop we stopped at, people tried to cram more people in, and it was just awful. So I got off at Marylebone a bit frazzled, thinking, I just want to turn around and go home. But I'm so glad I didn't, because I had such a good day after that. So I went up to Phantom, and it's some cool guests there. Met Sarah Sutton, played Nyssa, had the best chat with her. She was just so unbelievably lovely. And we were talking about the behind the sofa features. I just, told her how much I was enjoying them and stuff. And she was saying she loves doing them. But she said it's strange because they don't get to watch the whole story. They just get the snapshots bits. So she says half the time they don't know what's going on. And I was like, yeah, I kind of got the feeling that might be the case, because like in Warrior's Gate, for example, which is a hard enough story to get your head around if you watch it all, if you're watching just snapshots of it, you got no chance really, have you? But she was just saying how much fun they were to do, and I told her that that as fans love them and we can't wait for more. John Leeson was there, K9, had a nice little chat with him. Yes, can't remember what I was talking to him about, but yeah, he was very nice. Tom Chadbon, he played Duggan in City of Death. Yeah, I've been wanting to meet him for a while because I love City of Death, love Duggan, classic. But he's also in a brilliant Blake Seven episode, which I love. And so I finally met him, so that was really cool. And Adrian Gibbs was there as well. He played the Watcher. who's very nice but quite quiet.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He's a bit like the Watchers Elf, just quite quiet. So yeah, brilliant day. Met with loads of same sort of people that go to them every month. It's quite a sort of regular crowd. And it was brilliant. Yeah, and then we went to FP obviously afterwards, as is standard.
Mm-hmm.
What did I get in FP?
What was the Cabinet of Woe like?
Oh, it's just the same. Honestly, I think it was just an extra cobweb.
Oh, mate, what are they doing?
I know. It's actually the Who section was shocking. I did buy something, but it wasn't Doctor Who. Oh no, it was sorry, I know what it was. I bought a Rick and Morty blind box.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I do love Rick and Morty, but there's a quick story behind this. So
open the box, Morty. Come on, Morty.
I got one 3 weeks ago in a supermarket, and the figure I wanted was Pickle Rick. Right. So I open the box, I see the head come out of the bin bag that they're inside, and it's Pickle Rick. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got him. I took him out the bag, and his leg was broken. It'd been snapped.
Oh,
and I was
no.
like, oh no. And so I was like shaking all the other boxes. They're all far too heavy. I was like, no, it's the only one in the box, isn't it? So anyway, I thought, right, I'm in FP in 3 weeks. I'm going to try and find one that feels the same weight. So I'm rattling them all in FP. Where's Pickle Rick? Anyway, I buy one, go outside the shop, immediately open it. Oh, it's not him. It's Morty. It's, Morty looking ill or something, toxic Morty. Oh, I was like, should I risk another one? So I go in, shaking all the boxes. And then, anyway, long story short, I bought 3 boxes because they were all in the sale. And on the 3rd box, the final one, I got him. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Nice one. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I bought. I didn't buy any Who, I don't think. Yeah. But, the cabinet looks ropey, to say the least. It hasn't changed.
That should be the new hashtag for the London Megastore, the Cabinet of Woe.
I do wonder if we ought to tweet them, actually. Because I just can't believe, the other parts of the store look so cool and that cabinet's all lit up. I just can't believe that they don't walk past it and think, oh, yeah, we must sort that out.
Yeah. Do you know what would be better, actually, is just round the corner from that, where the wall is, where that cabinet is and the Who stuff.
Yeah.
If you go up to the end and turn left as if you were going to leave, just as you turn left, there's another wall, quite small, with all Harry Potter stuff. And that's sort of bulging at the seams.
It is, yeah.
They should swap those 2 bits around and have the Harry Potter stuff take up that section where it would actually have enough stock to fill it up. And then move the Who stuff round so you can see it more clearly as you walk in anyway. So it gets a bit more exposure. But it just doesn't look so barren on the shelf and in the cabinet.
Actually makes sense, actually. Now you mention that, because, the Harry Potter stuff's literally falling out off the shelf every time you walk past it. It's bulging.
Yeah, because I have to use the rack behind it as well, where they've got all the Harry Potter notebooks and scarves and everything. So they can use that, yeah.
We need to go in there and start managing, I think. Should we put ourselves forward as what do they call it? What's that program like where they go into the shops and just, it's all about, like the Channel 4 program where it's all the shops failing, so they get 2 people to go and give it a makeover.
Yeah.
And then it's all wonderful. And oh gosh, why didn't we do this before?
Yeah,
we could go and do that.
Yeah, the Doctor Who merchandise improvement team.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't spell out a naughty
something rude
acronym, but yeah, we should definitely do that. Go to FP and say, look, we're not being funny, but.
Or we could just do it we could just go in and just do it and see if, and then, as they're shutting the shop, I need to have oh my word, when did this happen? Yeah, why didn't we think of this? It looks amazing. Yeah, we could try that. Yeah.
I'll tweet them later. Yeah, and say that we get hundreds of complaints to our podcast every week. Something's got to be done.
Something needs to be
done.
Just ham
it up a bit. Yeah, we get thousands of complaints.
Yeah. Just send him a picture of the cabinet. I did actually take one. I know you took one last time you were in there, and I took one, not this time, but the time before, because I was going to send it to you and say it's no better, but I forgot. But just send him a picture and say, could we have something in this cabinet other than cobwebs and 3 Titan figures that are 10 years old?
Yes, because I'm not sure if they're just playing the waiting game and waiting for a load of new merch to come out.
I think they're going to be waiting a while.
But I was going to say, this year especially, I think it's going to be very slow for things like figures, T-shirts, because they've released a couple of new designs, haven't they, recently?
Yeah.
Which is good, but it's nowhere near enough to fill up that section, is it? No.
No, definitely not, no.
Yeah. So I'll tweet them later and just say, what are you playing at? Come on.
I don't want to tweet them. I don't want to be blocked. People are so trigger happy on Twitter now.
I don't mind.
The slightest thing. Right, you're blocked.
Yeah, I don't mind.
It's like sort of, excuse me, your cabinet looks a bit rubbish. Blocked.
People are very sensitive these days. You can't say anything online without somebody. We're going to go down a rabbit hole here, mate. I can see, but
I know.
People are very touchy and sensitive on social media these days.
Very sensitive. Yeah, I know. And I'd hate to be blocked by FP. I think I'd be mortified.
Yeah,
they
it's like
me.
It was in your FP store today.
I did tweet them once about one of their staff. I had a really rude staff.
I remember this. Yeah,
a couple of years ago, I had a really rude member of staff, and I was so angry on the train because I'd spent a lot of money, and I did tweet them about that. And I was worried then, thinking, oh gosh, if I don't get blocked because I was a bit I was a bit angry. But no, they just followed me, and we had a PM discussion, and everything was fine. But that was a while ago.
Depends who's running the Twitter account, I suppose.
Yeah.
If it's let's not go down this road.
No.
But yeah, so that's what you've been up to. I've been up to anything too much really. I have been looking at a couple of events which look very cool coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking about this before we started recording. Because I went on. This is about Wales Comic Con, which is happening at the end of April, and I remember going onto the Wales Comic Con website. I think it was about 2 or 3 months ago, and thinking, okay, this looks not too bad. There was only about a dozen guests announced.
Yeah.
And I thought, this doesn't look too bad. I'll keep an eye on this one. And then when you told me about it this morning, and I jumped on there, I'm on the website now, I thought, crikey Moses. Wales Comic Con has come on a lot in the last 2 years.
It has, yeah.
Because I remember a couple of years ago thinking, okay, looks okay. There isn't too many sort of big guests there or anything. But this year, crikey.
They're absolutely knocking out the park.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah, so tickets are reasonable, 20 quid, 21 quid.
Mm-hmm.
But the Saturday and the weekend tickets have sold out. But you can still go on the Sunday, which is a bit of a bummer for one particular guest.
Yeah.
But they have got a lot of other people there. So David Tennant is there on the Saturday. So if you're going, or if you manage to get a ticket somehow, that's obviously a great one.
Yeah.
Billie Piper's there on the Saturday and Sunday.
She's awesome as well. Yeah, I love Billie. As a person, she's brilliant.
Who else have we got? Michelle Gomez.
Mm-hmm.
She's there all weekend.
She's fun.
And there was another Who person, wasn't there?
Russell Tove is there.
That's it. Yep. He's there all weekend. And then they've got some really, if you're into other cool franchises, so they've got Rupert Grint from Harry Potter. He's there only on Saturday. Kiefer Sutherland is there. Sam Neill, Ron Perlman, a load of people from Game of Thrones. The guy who plays Daredevil on Marvel, Charlie Cox, is there. Hayley Atwell, who plays Agent Carter in the Marvel Avengers stuff. Who else is there? Sam Claflin, who was in the Hunger Games. Very cool. Some people from The Walking Dead. Pretty much everyone who was in the series Gotham. That's really cool. Sean Pertwee's there. That might be a cool photo.
Yes.
Yep. Have a chat about his dad. Who else? Yeah, Michael Madsen. Big movie star. So yeah, Wales Comic Con, it's just grown massively very quickly. So if you can get over there, if you haven't got a ticket yet, you can still pick up Sunday. That would be very cool. You won't be able to see Tennant, but Billie Piper will still be there, Michelle Gomez. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of April. And then another one that I noticed, which is not until October, which is MCon Derby. So there's not a huge amount of guests announced at the moment, but they have got David Bradley, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Terry Malloy.
So
that would be a cool one. And if Class is your thing, they've got 2 people from Class. They've got Sophie Hopkins and Vivian Opara. So if Class is your thing, they've got a couple of people there. Plus they got Norman Levitt from Red Dwarf and a couple of other people. So that might be one to keep an eye on, because I imagine over the next few months they'll announce some more people and stuff. So yeah, so entry is really good for MCon. It's only a tenner.
It's not bad, is it?
So that's pretty good. Yes.
Yeah, the Wales one, definitely. I mean, it's a shame that the Saturday sold out and stuff. I mean, I think price-wise for travel, I'd sort of ruled it out and things. But yeah, I mean, the guests are really good. They've really upped their game, I think. And hopefully Showmasters are looking at that and thinking, we need to do something now, because I'd love to have got a picture with Tennant. Tennant and Billie would be an awesome photo, actually, together.
Oh yeah,
I bet there'll be a lot of fun in that photo studio. I think it'll be a good one. That will.
Yes, it will. Yeah. So a couple of cons coming up, which look fairly good. I might try and get to. Otherwise, that's us done.
Yes.
We should probably land the old girl. Do a bit of news.
Alrighty.
First up, do you fancy working at the BBC?
Oh.
At the BBC on Doctor Who?
Wow. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yes. So there's a third-party company called It's My Shout, and they are offering up a bunch of work placements on the next series of Doctor Who.
Wow.
So it's trying to find and develop new talent within the TV and film industry. And they have 5 places available. And they've been going since 2002. So they're a well-established company or organisation that are handling this. And what they're looking for is kind of like newcomers to the scene. So essentially people who have got or can show that they have a talent for working in sort of the drama side of TV, I suppose, or film. And it's a paid role as well. So it's kind of like an internship, but you're getting paid for it, which is always good. But one thing that they do try and take on people who have been from either kind of the reason why they're doing this is to try and get some representation for sort of diverse talent within specifically the BBC. So this is trying to get people who have come from underdeveloped areas of the country, and people from like sort of diverse backgrounds, essentially anyone with disabilities or lower socioeconomic backgrounds. So people in hardworking, not much money areas. They're trying to extract people from those kinds of backgrounds to try and show that, you know, you don't have to be a very middle class, educated to university degree level to just walk into a job in television, essentially. And they're doing it with Doctor Who because it's very well known, and they can get really good hands-on, practical, experience, so that they can use that and then they can develop a bit further and then hopefully land a job full time in the television industry in some shape or form. So it's not open to people who are currently in full-time education. So if you're in high school or full-time college, you won't be able to do it. And you need to be available for 11 weeks from the 29th of April up until the 12th of July. So it's a nearly 3 months worth of experience, which is good. And we'll put a note in the show notes. All you need to do is have a CV together of some kind, and you need to email that to doctorwho.scheme@bbc.co.uk, and you need to have that in by Sunday the 31st of March.
Right.
So if this sounds like something you want to do, if you're in between jobs or you're just come out of study or education and it's something that you feel like you're a creative person and you feel like you can actually, I've got some chops in the old creative department, I can do that. And you want to work on Doctor, I mean, who wouldn't want to work doing anything?
It sounds like a great opportunity. I mean, to be honest, what have you got to lose? Just get your CV in there. I think this is such a great scheme, actually. I'm just looking at the roles as well. So junior graphic designer, costume, carpenter, floor runner. That's didn't Matthew Wardhouse start out as a floor runner?
He did.
Or was that someone else? Yeah, TV electrician. So I mean, I think this is a really great opportunity, actually. So
very cool.
Yeah, I would just, even if you're thinking, I don't know if I can, whatever, just get your CV in. I mean, it's brilliant, actually.
Yeah, and
I might put mine in.
And some of these roles, you might think, that's weird, like a carpenter or a TV electrician. Now, you might think, how in the heck does that relate to working with Doctor Who? But a carpenter, for example, you would be responsible for building some amazing sets that they would film on. So if you're a carpenter, I mean, I know of people, well, I know a guy who was a carpenter on The Empire Strikes Back. who went.
Oh, really?
Who went into it? Who was wanted to be a carpenter because his dad did it anyway. But just the opportunity came up just out of the blue, pretty much being a carpenter working on at Elstree or Pinewood, whatever it is, building film sets, and it happened to be The Empire Strikes Back. And then from there, he has worked in it all his life, made a really good career of it, and now his son does it as well. So you might think, being a carpenter, that doesn't sound creative, but it absolutely is. Where the opportunity to build, I mean, we've seen photos, haven't we, of the TARDIS set from the outside.
Just exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, that wooden,
That takes skills to get all that rocking and rolling. There's so many other things. And also TV electrician. You might think, how the hell does that? But again, wiring up sets, all of that stuff, practical effects, all of that stuff, it all links in to basically TV production.
And you'd be right there in the middle of it.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. So if this sounds like your thing, get your CV over to doctorwho.scheme@bbc.co.uk by Sunday, the 31st of March. And you could be in with a shot, spending a couple of months in Cardiff, I assume, working on Doctor Who. Sounds really cool.
Does. Awesome stuff. Okay, other news. So we often look at a site called DoctorWhoNews.net, and I'm sure a lot of Doctor Who fans do. And if you do look at that website, you can get 10% off tickets for a Bedford convention that's coming up, which is all for charity. It's called Bedford Who Charity Con 5. It's a really good guest at this event. So Sylvester McCoy's there, Sophie Aldred, Janet Fielding. I know so many people who want to meet Janet after the Behind the Sofa. She's so good in interviews as well. Mm-hmm. Carol Ann Ford, which is great. Louise Jameson, Michael Jaston, and Mike Tucker. So some really good some really good guests at this. And basically all you have to do to get 10% off is email and say, and mention Doctor Who News in your email. Basically just say, I've seen this offer, I'd like so many tickets, and you'll get 10% off.
That's very cool. Yeah.
And this is happening on Saturday the 13th of April in Bedford. And it sounds good. As I said, the guests are great. I think Janet Janet, I think, did she move abroad or something for a while? I know she was off the scene for a little bit in the UK, but she seems to be doing more conventions over here at the minute. And I'll tell you, as I said, she's worth the ticket alone. I think she's such good value for money. So
yeah, it's very cool. And it's good as well because this is all for charity.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And it's quite local as well. If you're in the southeast or the south of the UK, it's not too difficult to get to.
And Colin Baker loves this event. He was quoted as saying that he said it was the best one-day event he's ever done. That was a quote from him from the last year. So Colin has endorsed it. I think what it is they try and make it like the old sort of very relaxed sort of conventions that we used to get sort of back in my day, if you like, where it wasn't all about just spending hundreds of pounds on photo shoots and things. This is a much more relaxed event, and there are photo sessions and things available and autographs, but they really try to make it as relaxed and friendly as possible from the sounds of it. So
yes. Yeah. So as Adam said, you just need to if you're thinking of going and you want 10% off, you just need to email the organizer of this event, which is someone called Simon Daines. And the address is info@bedfordwhocharitycon.co.uk. And as Adam said, you just need to put in your email somewhere that you've seen this on the Doctor Who News website, and you get your 10% off. So
brilliant. Yeah.
Good times.
Really good stuff.
And last in the news is not really kind of news, I suppose. It's just a bit of a thing to mention. But yesterday, we're recording this on Wednesday, the 27th of March. So yesterday, Tuesday, the 26th of March, was 14 years since Doctor Who landed back on our screens.
Wowzers.
Yeah, the episode Rose was slammed in our faces.
Yeah. What time did it go out? Do we know? Was it 7, 6, 7? I'm trying to remember now.
Crikey, I'm not sure. Because I didn't watch Doctor Who back then.
It was prime time. Yeah, no, you didn't watch Doctor Who back then, did you? No.
No, but I put in my tweet yesterday that I remember seeing lots of stuff about it at the time.
Yeah.
Because 2005 is the year, because I remember 2005 very clearly. It was the year that I changed jobs and I met my wife that year. So I remember that year very clearly. And I remember seeing there's a very popular poster of Chris Eccleston and Billie Piper sort of standing in front of the TARDIS, and they're kind of looking off into the distance. I remember seeing that poster on loads of billboards, in magazines, everywhere, and articles about it as well. It was a real But because I didn't watch it, I was like, oh, okay, that seems like, cool. I know of Doctor Who, obviously. But yeah, and it wasn't long after that I thought, what's all this lark then? All this Doctor Who stuff. But you must have been, where were you when you watched it?
I can absolutely remember it like it was yesterday, mate. I went and shut myself upstairs. I was living with my parents at the time. I went and shut myself away in the bedroom. I can remember shutting the door. I can picture myself in the room so clearly, actually, shutting the bedroom door, just sitting there, just the anticipation of like, oh gosh, like 2 minutes, it's going to start. What is this going to be like? It was incredible, actually. That first shot of the zoom into the Earth and going into the, all the sort of montage of Rose and Mickey, and I can hear the music in my head now because Murray's music is quite different in Rose, isn't it? It's quite sort of electronic, that beginning, and all that. And I was thinking, yeah, I can remember it so clearly, and I remember all the posters. But what I do remember even more clearly is the build up to it. Those promotional trailers that they did were fantastic. So the one of Eccleston running down a corridor and there's a big flame ball behind him, and then there's that bit where he walks in. I'm the Doctor. This is Rose. The build up was incredible, mate. Honestly, for a Doctor Who fan, I was just, I just couldn't believe it. Really, actually, as I said, just sitting down waiting for it to actually start was something else back in the day.
That's so cool. Yeah.
And it was, and I remember really enjoying Rose. I remember when it finished, I really liked it. I thought, yeah, that was good. It was a good introduction. I think the first time because I enjoyed it and I liked the next one, but the first bit that really cemented Eccleston as the Doctor was the following story for me. What's it called? End of the World, isn't it?
End of the World.
There's a bit where he's mending something, and he has a little tear rolled down his cheek. I think he's talking about Gallifrey or something. I can't remember now, but I just remember thinking, God, I love this Doctor. That was the moment when I just thought, Eccleston they've absolutely picked the right bloke. He's superb. And then there was the bit where he's stood in front of the big fan and he closes his eyes and walks through it, and he blew my mind. Not the best episode, but just him, I was just like, he's so good. I love this Doctor already, because that was the second episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And him and Billy just worked so great in the episode. So yeah, but Rose, as I said, I remember thinking it was a really good start, and I enjoyed it. But I think it was the next episode and I really felt like, Doctor Who is absolutely back. I'm loving this.
Makes me want to go and watch those early ones now.
And I'll tell you, when I realised that they were starting to go beyond the Doctor Who fans as well, when I realised they were getting a new audience, was when I was walking down the Cowley Road in Oxford to some bar. I don't know why I wasn't at home watching Doctor Who, or maybe it was a repeat, I don't know, but I walked past the guy and they'd got I think it was like in like what do they call it, cottage chicken or something shop on the Cowley Road, and they used to have TVs in them. They probably stood it, and there was a guy outside the cottage chicken watching the Gelf. What's that episode called? The Unquiet Dead.
Yeah.
On the screen, and he was just fixated. He was just stood on the street watching it, and I was just like, "This is great. This is like everyone's just glued to TV sets watching Doctor Who. I love it." So yeah, it was just nice. I could just tell that it was bringing on new people, not just from that. I just mean it. It was just nice to see someone just engrossed in it on the street, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, really good time. So I loved all the billboards and stuff that you mentioned as well. It was a hell of a time to be alive. It really was.
No, I remember. It's a shame in a way that I wasn't involved in Doctor Who at that time, because I would have loved to have been on the hype train and looking forward to it and stuff.
But the thing is, I don't remember. I don't remember many of my friends. Like you probably picture me, chatting to friends afterwards. What did you think? There wasn't any of that, because I don't remember any of my friends actually liking Doctor Who when it returned.
Oh, okay.
So right. I know that it built over that first year. I know that, by the end of Eccleston's run, loads of people were talking about Doctor Who, and, but I think I had one friend who actually, who I could sort of talk to about it afterwards. So there wasn't this, and I can only talk about myself here. I don't know about other people that were sort of old Doctor Who fans that were, watching this. But yeah, there was not this thing like I have now, where every time an episode ends, you're on Twitter discussing it, or back then you might have phoned your friend and said, "Oh, did you watch Doctor Who?" There wasn't. I didn't have a big social Doctor Who network back then. So it was. I seem to remember it ended, and then I think I just got my one friend that I discussed it with, and the moment that we really sort of came together over it was Dalek. He was just like, because he got to see it first. I must have missed it on transmission. He's like, "Oh, you've got to watch Dalek." I was like, "Oh, is it good?" "Yes, it's amazing." And he came around to my house and we watched it together. So, but yeah, that gradually, it's amazing to think about that sort of one Doctor Who friend. And now, where we are now, and my whole social life is Doctor Who. Like everybody I know that I'm friends with pretty much loves Doctor Who or knows about it. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think that was just before or a few years away from everybody having social network accounts. And all that
I was
stuff.
thinking that, yeah.
I don't remember having a Twitter account or anything in 2005. No. So that was before everybody jumped on social afterwards and discussed it and moaned about it and hated it and everything.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But yeah, so I've got the time here. So Saturday, the 26th of March, 7 p.m. was the place to be.
7 p.m. I knew it was like prime time, yeah.
And then it went out the following evening on BBC 3 at 7. And then a month later, 17th of July, they repeated it on BBC 3. So that'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember like Eccleston doing a few. I remember seeing him on Jonathan Ross as well. He did a bit of publicity for it.
Right.
And I think that was before the show, or maybe it was just after Rose, because that also built the hype. I remember they were showing clips from like Aliens in London and stuff and just thinking, oh my God, it looks so good. And yeah.
The synopsis is great for Rose as well. Rose Tyler believes she is living another day of her ordinary life, but after being threatened by autons, in brackets living plastic for new Who fans, controlled by the Nestine consciousness, she meets the 9th Doctor. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And I love that shot when she first runs around the TARDIS in the outside, and you're just about to go into it, because I think we'd seen inside in the trailer, I guess. I can't remember now. But yeah, that was a good scene. You were like, oh, Rose, she's going to go in any minute now. She's going to go in. Yeah, that was a good moment.
Yeah, I might have to watch Rose later. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good story, that one.
Stick it on.
Anything else? Right, that's it for news. There's no merch this week. Can't really uncover any worthy merch to speak about.
No, my wallet's breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, I think the most I've seen is a couple of upcoming figures for the Figurine magazine subscription.
Yeah.
That's about it. I think I saw the clown from Greatest Show in the Galaxy. I think he's coming up soon.
The one I'm excited for is the Auton, but it's the one from... name it Terror of the Autons.
Oh, Terror. Right.
It's the sort of dandelion one with the big hat.
Oh, yeah.
That looks brilliant. Can't wait for that one. But yeah, I think they've released Syl. Is the latest one. Syl and the Clown and Sutek, which I've had on back order for ages, but he hasn't arrived yet.
Cool.
But yeah, not a lot else, is there?
Not really, mate. Not enough to fill the cabinet of woe.
No, we've given Dalek Tat a week off.
Yeah. On vacation.
Yeah. Let's
crack on with our review.
Right.
What we got, buddy?
So yeah, Torchwood this week, and we got the episode wrong at the end of last week, didn't we? We said it was going to be Killing Susie, but that'll be the next Torchwood one we do. We accidentally missed out an episode. So this week we are reviewing Greeks Bearing Gifts.
It will find you. Put it on. I can hear voices. They're people's thoughts.
I'm gonna kill them.
What is this thing?
This is impossible. You need to see this.
It's like a curse. Something the gods said will drive someone mad.
Get me into Torchwood.
Torchwood continues Sunday at 10 on BBC 3.
Ah, BBC 3.
BBC 3, I know, yeah.
Torchwood. Greeks Bearing Gifts was first broadcast back in 2006. So this is 13 years old. In November. Normal runtime, 50 minutes, and it was written by Toby Whithouse.
There's a name we know.
There's a name we know, yes. And directed by Colin Teague and stars the usual Torchwood team. And a guest performance by Daniela Denbiash, who most of you would have known if you watch it from, well, I remember firstly from a really old comedy called My Family.
Oh, yeah. I forgot she was in that. Yeah.
But most of you probably know her from EastEnders.
Yeah, boo.
If you watch it, yeah.
I hate EastEnders.
Yes. I hate EastEnders. And the story plot for this one is it centers around Tosh mainly. And she meets up with Mary, also known as the other person.
It's got a really funny name, isn't it?
Philoctetes.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try and pronounce it. Just call her Mary.
Call her Mary. Yeah, she meets up with Mary, and Mary gives her an alien pendant, which enables Tosh to listen to everyone else's thoughts. And then so while that's going on with Tosh, they discover this old skeleton that's been murdered at an old dig site, and the team are really puzzled over what's going on. I think Owen makes a guess about how the person died, and he turns out to be completely wrong, and it's all a bit of a mystery. And it turns out that Mary was actually possessed by this old alien spirit that had been exiled from its home world, and has used her body over the last couple of 100 years to feed on people, which is why they find out eventually anyway that there's a long line of bodies that have got similar shaped holes in their chest where she's taken their heart to feed and so on. And while this is all going on, as I said, Tosh is kind of listening to people's thoughts, and she listens to Gwen and Owen, and she starts to question what she's doing at Torchwood, and do they like her? Do they not like her? They pity her, whatever. And Greeks bearing gifts. What do you reckon? What do you reckon to this one?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. This one, yeah, quite a fairly decent watch. I like the idea, of being able to hear people's thoughts and stuff. Well, it doesn't feel terribly original, but it works quite well, I think, in the episode. I don't know. I did like it. I thought it was good. It did seem to run out of steam a little bit. I kind of felt like there wasn't quite enough story to fit the 50 minutes. There was a lot of long shots, especially the end one of Cardiff. It was as if they thought, oh, we're only up to 46 minutes. We need to, what can we put in to make this go up to 50? But yeah, overall, I thought it was all right. It was nice for Tosh to get a little, more a story more focused just on her, because we haven't really got to know her very much. And this is episode 7 in series 1. So yeah, it was good to get that to be more focused on Tosh, and I think that worked quite well. The performances weren't too bad in this one either, because I think we've said, the early episodes Torchwood, the cast seemed a bit clunky. They seem to be gelling a little bit more. Still not liking the whole Owen and Gwen thing, because of course she can hear their thoughts in this one, so Tosh realizes that they've been having an affair. There is a couple of funny moments. There's a good bit when Gwen's like, why isn't he looking at me? And Owen's like trying to be the typical lad. He's like, don't look at her, don't be too keen. So yeah, a couple of nice moments like that. But I don't know. Overall, it was decent. I don't think it's like a great episode. I don't think it's a bad episode, but I kind of felt it fitted nicely in the series, because it's sort of, past the halfway mark, and it kind of felt like the episode we needed. Nothing too grand. It wasn't, there's no big invasion or cyber women breaking in or anything. Like, it just was kind of a nice sort of easy watch in the middle of the series. So I think it works quite well in that sense as well. So yeah, fairly all right, this one. Quite enjoyable. What do you think? Yeah,
I thought this one, to be honest with you, of the point that we're up now in because we're still on series 1, aren't we? So
yeah,
I think this is one of the better ones that I've seen.
Yeah,
far.
I'd say that. Yeah,
I think the story had a little bit more substance to it, mainly because of the emotional wallop that we got from Tosh, really. From actor's name, Naoko Mori. I just thought that her performance was really quite good overall, and I think we haven't really seen that yet. And surprisingly, I thought John Barrowman's performance was the worst in this.
Well, he's not in it very much, is he?
No.
And he comes across, and I don't know if you felt this, a bit smug
in
this episode.
Yeah.
So he's only in a couple of scenes, I think. It's a very Jack light episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when he is in them, it's as if he kind of just comes in and I'm going to sort it all out. I know what's going on. And yeah, so I don't know. I felt a little bit like that as well. I was a bit like, oh, get lost, Jack.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, smug so-and-so.
Yeah, there was one scene where Tosh has gone to Torchwood and she's wearing the pendant, but she can't hear Jack's thoughts.
Yeah.
And that was at the end, that links into a nice little question that hovers above Jack's character, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene, he kind of picks up that something's not right with her. He knows that she's not behaving as she normally does, which is fine. But then the scene towards the end, it seems to, Torchwood seems to have a format that the writers need to adhere to. It's certainly in series 1 anyway, that I've noticed, where there's like an investigation period which takes up the bulk of the episode. So something's happened, and then the Torchwood team are trying to find out either what the alien is or what's causing it and all that stuff. And then at the end, there's like a standoff where you've got Jack shouting very angrily, drop the weapon, or whatever it is. And then, like you said, he's a bit of a save the day person. And then it all quiets down at the end, and then we're off to the next one. So I wasn't too enamored with that part of it. And Jack seems to, or the character of Jack just seems to slot nicely or too conveniently into that format that we've seen. And I just thought that John Barrowman was a little bit, just didn't do it for me at all in this one. But the rest of the cast were actually okay. I thought Daniela Ash, I thought she was reasonably good.
I thought she was very good, actually.
Yeah, she kind of had the whole
kind of cocky,
uncaring, very cocky and very manipulative sort of side. She played that very well, I thought, and overall not too bad. And Tosh was very good. And I also thought that although they can be quite annoying in their own right at times, I thought Gwen and Owen were okay, even though they're not, what they're up to is not good, but their performances were quite funny stroke emotional, I thought. So yeah, overall it's okay, and like the story had a little bit of substance to it. We had that sort of flashback scene where Mary's alive a couple of 100 years ago, and she's playing a what's the word? A sex worker, I think is the best way to describe what she's up to, and she, a young.
I don't think that's what he calls her, but we probably shouldn't say what he calls it.
Yeah, so a young military person, military personnel, is and they off into the woods to have a bit of how's your father, and and that's when she, we find out later that this alien had inhabited her body and made her invincible, I think, because he does shoot her, doesn't he? And she rips his heart out. Right.
Yeah, that's quite gross when she rips his heart out in the flashback.
Yes. Yeah, so we have a bit of backstory, don't we? And which is quite good.
Yeah, that all works really, really well. I was going to say, but what did you think of the actual wrap-up then? Because, like you said, Barrowman, Jack, just kind of swoops in at the end, sends her up into the middle of the sun, and it's all gone. And I found the wrap-up a little quick, if I'm honest. I felt like it didn't satisfy me particularly. And it seemed quite harsh of Jack as well.
It was, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know this thing's been going around ripping out hearts, so it's not.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it did seem the way he's like, because, I think he could tell that Tosh there'd become an emotional attachment to Mary. So he's a bit heartless, I thought. He's kind of like, she's burning up in the sun. And it's like, okay, you've saved the day, Jack, we've got it. But I don't know, it was a little, I felt, it was a bit rushed. It just seemed a real quick wrap up. But also I didn't really like the fact that Jack was responsible for saving the day. I think maybe because he hadn't been into the episode, I kind of think it would have been better if Tosh had somehow had to make that. I think it would have had more of an emotional impact if Tosh would have had to have done it, if you know what I mean. Like if she had no choice, I don't know, maybe if Mary had got, Owen held, captured and she's about to rip his heart out, and then Tosh, has to send her to the sun. I think the ending could have been more dramatic, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. I just didn't like the way Jack just waltzed in, saved it, and then right, off we go, we're all done now. It just seemed a little bit anticlimactic, I think. Could have been built up a bit better, I think.
Yeah, it was also a little bit at odds with how you would expect Torchwood to handle that as well, because they've got like these they've got these holding cells, haven't they, in the hub, where they capture aliens who are a potential threat to people and they lock them away in there. And earlier on in the episode, when Mary is talking to Tosh about, because Tosh says, I want to take you into Torchwood, I think, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And they're like, no, they're going to lock me away and do tests on me and on all that stuff. And that's kind of aligns with what Torch would do. So it's kind of out of sorts, really, that Captain Jack just kills her on the spot, reprograms that thing to the coordinates or coincidentally the middle of the sun. So she's obviously, a goner immediately. So it seems at odds with, we know that Torchwood don't necessarily kill aliens. They just lock them away because, that's not their thing. And she even says they're going to lock me away and do tests and stuff. And then at the end, Jack's like, oh, I kill her. Did you kill her? Yes. He's really angry.
Yeah.
And then in a split second, he's sort of Colgate smile. Everything's good. But
also the pendant, she smashes that, doesn't she? She treads on that. And I think, again, they've got a whole room to lock these things in. Kind of no need to do that.
I kind of get it in a way that she views it as, very, very, a curse, she labels it as. So
yeah, I suppose
extremely dangerous. So you can see it from one point of view, the reason why. But the whole killing the alien thing, I found a bit just not aligned with how you would deem Torchwood to handle that stuff.
No, like I said, I think it's just a way of just wrapping the episode up very neatly, if you like. That's done over and done with, sort of thing. The thing with the necklace, though, that's the side of the story I do like, because it does give you this dilemma, I think. I think there are times when we would all love to get inside someone else's head. There's times when we all think, I wonder what they really think of me, or I wonder what he's thinking right now, or she's thinking right now. And so I think that's an interesting dilemma, because I think anyone would want to do that at times, but then we probably wouldn't want to hear what we do here. So it is a double-edged sword. And I think that's an interesting side of this story, that Tosh finds it really hard to resist listening into people's thoughts, which I think any of us would. But then she doesn't always like what she hears. But then the woman says to her, well, you're just hearing one side. It's not, you've got to take it in context. But there's that other bit where she hears the guy who's going to murder his wife and son. I mean, that's quite a harsh scene, actually.
Pretty dark, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really dark, because the two characters, the two actors in that scene, the mum and the son, are brilliant. I mean, they're only supporting cast. They're only in that one scene. They're only in it for a couple of minutes at most. They look absolutely terrified. I mean, I'm wondering if the director, Colin Teague, is it?
Colin Teague.
I wonder if he had a real shotgun pointed out, because I thought, God, they're really acting this well. They look absolutely terrified, those two.
Yeah.
The guy who's going to shoot them, not so great in terms of acting, but I thought that was an interesting scene, because obviously then, Tosh saves the day by hitting him over the head with a golf club. So the bracelet does a good thing, but lucky he left the door open, I kept thinking as well. So she could get in. But I liked that side of the story. As I said, it's quite a simple idea, being able to, it's probably not that original an idea, but it does work quite well in terms of the story, I think.
Yes,
the whole mind reading thing, playing into that. And it's good now that she knows about Owen and Gwen as well, I think. That's quite good. So she's onto that.
She has a thing for Owen, doesn't she?
She has a thing for Owen, yeah. So she's kind of put out, isn't she, on quite a lot of levels?
Yeah, to begin with, certainly. She suspects that something's going on anyway, but it's confirmed, isn't it, when she gets the pendant on and she can hear them.
That's it.
And it's a nice moment towards the end, though, when her and Gwen kind of have a reset between the two of them, because it has been a bit of an awkward, because of that situation. It's been a bit awkward the last two episodes. So it's cool that at the end, they sort of apologise to each other. It's like, I shouldn't have invaded your privacy and your thoughts. And she's like, well, I'm not one to judge because I'm having an affair, so I can't take the moral high ground in any way. And they kind of have a mutual understanding, don't they? So hopefully we won't have the awkwardness from the next episode onwards. They should, get on with it, I suppose.
Yeah. I can't remember how the whole Owen and Gwen thing pans out, actually. I'm kind of hoping that comes to an end soon. I really can't remember where that storyline goes, if anywhere, actually. But I'm kind of looking forward to that ending.
Yeah, I think it's towards the end of it's towards the end of the series, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I really can't remember, Yeah.
So I think it's, and that going back to that scene you mentioned where she overhears the guy walking through the town with the shotgun and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that block of additional story was really needed, because like you said, it does it's weird because the story gets drawn out a little bit over the episode. I don't think there's not enough sort of decent content to fill the runtime.
Yeah.
Because there's a few scenes that are a little bit, because there was one scene where I thought that it's where Mary's sitting in a chair in the corner of the bedroom and Tosh is on the bed in her pajamas and she's crying. And I thought, we know all this, you know what?
Yeah.
She's just kind of, all she's doing is repeating what we already know.
The bit where I started to think, I might check my phone a bit, it was about half an hour in actually. And I think it is around about that bit you're talking about.
So, yeah.
There's a bit where, I think that's happening and Owen is working something out on the computer and the whole episode just seemed to almost slow right down. I was thinking, nothing's really, like you said, the story isn't building anymore. It seems like they've kind of run out of steam.
Yeah.
And then it did pick up about 5 minutes later, but definitely did sag a little in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also inject these very strange character scenes as well. It's almost like they're making Captain Jack to be a bit of a Batman figure because...
he's standing on the blimmin' roof.
Yeah, that whole
having
scene.
A moment.
Yeah, that whole scene where Owen's on the computer and he's on the case, isn't he? He's figuring it all out. And Tosh is crying on the bed and that music sort of building and building. But there's these scenes where Jack's got this like superhero pose. He's on top of a tall building with the lights, very dramatic. It's just like something out of you almost expect to see a Batman signal light up in the sky behind him. And you think, that's not really Captain Jack, is it? Captain Jack's more of a... I just don't get why he's up on the roof pondering in a very superhero-esque fashion.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I think that's part of that whole montage middle bit. I think where I just felt like they were trying to sort of fill time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a montage, isn't it? You blame Stallone for that, from the Rocky films. But I genuinely feel like there was probably about 35 minutes worth of content tried to be stretched along. They tried to stretch it along 50 minutes worth, which is why that long aerial shot of Cardiff at the end, you just think, when's this going to bloody end then?
It was a bit like the start of Leisure Hive, but instead of being at the beginning, it was at the end, wasn't it? Like a long shot of Cardiff, and then it just goes into the credits. As I said, I do think it was a good watch, but it did struggle, I think, to fill the 50 minutes.
Dragged on
at
a wee
times.
Bit. Yeah. It was just scenes that they could have literally chopped in half. They didn't have to go on that long, and we could have had a bit more backstory about the alien.
We don't really go into that, do we?
No, because all we know is, for whatever reason, that it's been like banished, hasn't it, from its home planet. And she's left it a couple of 100 years because I think Tosh questions her and says, "What makes you think you'll be able to go home?" and that stuff. And she does say, "Well, it's been a couple of 100 years now. The people that exiled me probably aren't there, and I should be able to just go home and stuff." But it would have been nice to have had a bit more detail about, because was she, I'm struggling to remember this bit, when she tells Tosh about that, does she go into detail about why she was, like what her crimes were, or what she had done to be?
If she did, I can't remember them. I don't remember her really explaining it. She might have done. I might have just not been paying attention, but I don't remember anything where she explained.
Yeah, because she just says that, because the whole reveal is quite good. When she reveals to Tosh that she is.
And I like that.
That
bit.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then she said that she was exiled from her home planet. So what's the race of her? Oh, the Arcatines. So the Arcatines. It's the same. Here's a cool link for you. It's the same alien that we see at the very beginning of the Sarah Jane adventures. Do you remember out in the garden?
Yes, I wondered if it was actually.
Yeah, now
I did think that. Yeah.
Now I've just read the name out loud. I think, where have we heard? Yeah, it's from the very first Sarah Jane, isn't it? It's the alien that visits her. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the look of the design of the alien, actually. I thought when, it revealed itself, it looked really good. Mm-hmm. Like the actual design of it. The CGI, a little bit dated maybe, but I think actually it still looked really nice. The CGI had a real charm about it, of being from that era. Mm-hmm. So I actually really did like the look of that. I thought it might have been that alien, but I wasn't sure from Sarah Jane. I thought maybe it's just a similar look, but it is actually supposed to be the same one, is it?
I think it's the same race.
Or the same race, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to have a bit more detail around why she was exiled, because she didn't go into too much detail about that side of it. But I think they could have chopped a couple of other scenes and extended a couple of her scenes where she's gone into more detail, basically.
Well, yeah, and also the more I think about it, the more I think about the ending, right? So is that the only time we see her as the alien? I think it is, isn't it?
Well, there's three times, isn't there?
Is there?
In the flashback.
So the flashback, the bit with thing.
The reveal
does she
to
turn
Tosh.
into it at the end in the hub?
Oh, no, she doesn't. No.
Because that's what I'm thinking. The more I think about it, I think the ending, because we've had all the stuff building between Owen and Gwen, and obviously Tosh has kind of put herself in the middle of that without them knowing. Mm-hmm. So you really could have built on that whole storyline, because if she had gone into the alien form at the end, it would have been a bit more visually interesting. And if she'd then taken, a hostage and started to rip out Owen's heart, or even Gwen, and then Tosh has to banish it to save them, that would have been a much more dramatic, and it would have also brought the whole Tosh, Owen, and Gwen thing a bit more full circle, if you know what I mean, rather than it just because it's kind of like a few storylines running along each other, but they don't come together particularly. So that I think they could have made much more of that. You know what I mean? They could have brought the three of them together at the end, and Tosh is, got to save the day rather than Jack waltzing in and doing it. And also we could have seen the creature again. So yeah, I do honestly think they missed a bit of a trick with this one, because I think the ending could have been a lot better actually. You know what I mean? I'm just sort of picturing that in my head.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done. I would have had her turn into the creature, gone a bit wild, grabbed one of them. Tosh has to save the day, and it's banished to the sun. And Jack's like, "Hey, what's going on in the hub? I'm missing the party.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be hanging around on cliff tops, Jack."
Yeah, you shouldn't be trying to be Batman.
Yeah. So I think they missed a little bit of a trick actually with the ending. As again, it sounds like I didn't like this episode. I really did actually, but I do. The more I think about it, I would have made the ending a lot more.
Yeah,
exciting.
No, I totally read you, mate. Yeah, they could have. The ending could have been cool. It could have been a bit more of a sort
dramatic
of not a shootout, but it could have been more of a battle in the hub with the alien, legging around and trying to get the transporter.
Yeah, I'd have just loved to have seen that alien in the hub. Sort of doing something rather than just Mary turning up and screaming and being shot into space.
Yeah. What did you think So at this point in the series, in Torchwood, every character has had some kind of same-sex relationship or kiss or whatever. So this one's taken to a bit more of a higher level, isn't it? So Tosh is actually, doing the old do with Mary a couple of times. And did that detract from your character, your view on Tosh, or still good?
No, and I actually think, because some of the bits in series 1 of Torchwood are a bit clunky, aren't they? You kind of feel like they've thrown it in to be, oh God, but I actually think it does feel, I think because of the performance from, is it Danielle or Daniela?
Daniela.
Who plays her? Daniela. I think she plays it so well. So that first bit when she's reading their mind and she says, I'm thinking I want to kiss you and stuff, I think that actually it works quite well. I can see that being quite clunky if it had been done in a different way. So no, it didn't. I thought actually their sort of relationship in this episode, actually the progression and the way it's handled, I think is done pretty well. It didn't, I wasn't sat there thinking, oh, here we go, here's the kiss, and oh yeah, they're in bed together now, right? Okay, it's adult, it's Torchwood. I wasn't sat there sort of rolling my eyes. I think it did actually work quite well, because I think mainly because of the way Tosh plays it as well, because she's kind of a bit messed up, isn't she, really? Because she's got this thing for Owen, and I don't think she really considered Mary until Mary kisses her, and then obviously she thinks, oh, actually, yeah, this is all right. So you know what I mean? It's I think it's handled quite well in terms of the way that they both performed, performed the script, if you like. Yeah, it didn't feel clunky. And sometimes in Torchwood, when they do handle these things like lesbian kiss and all that, they do kind of just throw it in there, and you just, I don't know, it doesn't always sort of feel smooth. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you said that, because it hasn't detracted at all from how cool a character Tosh is. I mean, not, whether she's straight or gay doesn't matter. I don't mean it affect her because of that. I'm just saying this is like quite a Tosh based story. It's pretty much all about her, isn't it? So to have that extra insight into her personal life as well as what she does in Torchwood, I think is really good.
Yeah, and also what I'm trying to get at is it didn't feel like they'd put the kiss and the sex in there for the sake of it.
Oh, no.
If you know what I mean. Like it sometimes can in Torchwood. It feels like it's just there to be more adult. It actually did feel part of the story.
Yes.
Quite naturally.
Yeah, I think it did for another reason as well, because you can tell that she's really crying out for some kind of attention or something, because she goes to the pub by herself, doesn't she? And she's just there. And
she's vulnerable. That's right.
Yeah. So when Mary approaches her, and she doesn't hold back, she tells her that she knows everything about her, what she does at Torchwood and all that stuff. But it almost feels like a massive weight off of her shoulders, because she doesn't have to lie to anyone about what she does, where she works and all that stuff. Everything's out in the open, so she can be completely honest. And I think that she really needed that, because, like we said, she's got a thing for Owen, but he's preoccupied with Gwen. So all she has is her work. So when she's on her own, outside of it, it was a good sort of step in the door for Mary.
A release, yeah.
What did you think to? So we've spoken about most of the characters. What did you think to? There was one person I wanted to mention. No. Oh yeah. So what did you think to the cameo from Yanto?
Oh right, yeah.
I can't stand it when they do this in Torchwood, because there was one episode, wasn't there? I think it was it the last one even? Countryside, yeah. Where he's such a bloody wet blanket. He's still banging on about Lisa. You know, his girlfriend from Cyberwoman. And it's the same with this one. He's only in it for 3 minutes, and all he's doing is like, I'm in pain, Lisa. Why'd you put him in it?
Yeah.
Just don't bother.
It's funny because I was just looking down the cast. I've forgotten he was in it, actually. Yeah, he moans about having to make the tea or something, doesn't he? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pointless.
Just don't have him.
Again, just don't bother. Again, it's just another couple of minutes filler of, it's just pointless. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a scene to reinforce the fact that Tosh can hear people's thoughts.
Yeah. But also I agree with you about the whole Yanto, because even just when he comes in and he's got his sour face on, you're like, oh, go away. Yeah. But he does get better, because I'm sure he does, because I remember liking Yanto. I'm sure he must get better.
Oh, he does, for sure.
Yeah, because so far in the series, I agree with you, he's just a wet blanket, and every time he pops up, I'm like, oh, God. But no, I'm sure he must get better, but not in this one.
He definitely comes into his own later on.
He does.
But at this point in it, it's just, you might as well not.
He's moping around.
Miserable, yeah. you can understand why from his point of view, but as a viewer, we just don't need to be reminded of it all every episode.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's another wasted scene they could have put.
It added nothing. Basically.
So yeah, it's in terms of characters, I think we've spoken about the main ones really.
I just want to say that I do really think I seem to be slightly more impressed than you, but I do think Daniela Denby-Ashe, I think she was really good as Mary. I really did like her performance in this, because she does have to play this sort of slightly cocky, very sure of themselves character, and sometimes if you play it a bit over the top, you can just become across as unlikable.
All right.
And yet I did actually quite like her. I think maybe that's why I was slightly annoyed that Jack kills her so quickly, because I kind of like the character. I'm not sure. I suppose she did deserve it, because she's been going around ripping people's hearts out. But because we haven't seen her actually do that, really, apart from as the alien creature in the flashback, it did feel I was a bit like, oh no, I quite liked her. But I just wanted to say I do think her performance was actually very good in this. I liked the way she acted it, and the way she seduces Tosh, and that I thought was done really well. Didn't feel didn't feel forced or over the top or anything like that. So I thought she was very good in it.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you, mate. She was. It was a good performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's it from my point of view in terms of story and characters. Have you got anything on your list that we haven't mentioned?
No, I just got unit written down because Jack keeps banging on. Where's this list? Where's this unit list, doesn't he? So it's nice to hear unit getting a mention. I don't know what list he's on about.
I've no idea.
No, I've no idea. But nice to hear unit getting a little reference in there.
A little reference, yeah, it's cool.
So cast-wise, they're all pretty okay. I think, I found Gwen and Owen a little bit annoying, but performance-wise, they were quite good. I agree with you about Jack, about John Barrowman, just a bit not quite hitting the mark in this one, but yeah. But I thought Naoko Mori as Tosh gave a great performance.
Yeah, she
really liked her in this. Yeah, I really I felt the vulnerability, if you know what I mean. I could see that she was, the way she acted, that was pretty decent. So yeah, so her and Daniela as Mary, I think really hold this episode together. Really.
Yes. Okie dokie. Scores then.
You'd go first, I think.
Yep. I'm going to give it a 7.
Snap.
I got 7 as well.
Yeah, 7 as well. At first I was thinking 6.5, which seemed a bit low, but I did enjoy it. So yeah, I'm giving it a 7 as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go any higher than that just because I thought...
It's definitely not any higher in my book, no.
No, because I thought, although there were some good performances, the rest of it kind of brought it down a bit, like the filler feel to it, sort of after 25 minutes in, and the ending as well, and John Barrowman and stuff. And yeah, I think there are much better stories to come.
It's not a classic, but it's also a lot better. Like I said, I think in terms of just being a good watchable story, it's better than some of the ones we've had so far in series 1. I'd put it as one of the better ones we've had so far.
Yeah, it's up there with like Countryside, and I think
I gave Countryside a 7. So yeah, it's what I would call decent.
Decent.
Yes.
Yeah. What did our awesome listeners think? We had a couple of audio clips in. Our usual reviewer, Sammy Satine from Australia.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. Happy to fly the flag or carry the torch for the audio reviews, but hopefully I might hear some more in the future, fellow listeners. Maybe. So, Greeks bearing gifts. Toby Whithouse knows how to write a good script. I love Mary, or Philoctetes, Daniela Denby-Ash, especially her interactions with Tosh. I did think it was cruel of Captain Jack to just send her spaceship into the sun like that. I know she murdered people, but still, the Doctor wouldn't approve. I like the pendant. Still unsure how Jack knew how to reprogram the spaceship, but hey, he knows stuff we don't. I give it 9 Greek myths out of 10. See ya.
9 out of 10? No, the Doctor wouldn't approve, Sammy. I agree with you.
Definitely not.
Wouldn't have liked that.
Not at all. No, thank you, Sammy, as always. We have a newcomer to the audio reviews.
Hurrah.
This is our new buddy, Matt Steele.
Hi, Gary and Adam. Matt Steele here. This is my first review, and I'm a relatively new listener too. So, Greeks Bearing Gifts really fleshed out the character of Toshiko, letting viewers see more of Tosh than the tech assistant of the Torchwood team. I liked the way this episode also developed Jack as the team's leader further, and I thought that John and Naoko really shined in this episode. The affair storyline between Gwen and Owen felt kind of forced and unnecessary, although to be fair, I've never been a fan of that particular story arc anyway. Also, I just kind of wish Yanto had more to do in this episode. Overall, I give this 7 mind-reading pendants out of 10. Also, do you think they'll ever produce more of the Season 12 box sets? Cheers!
Awesome review. What a great name, Matt Steele.
Matt Steele.
I'd love that. That's like a superhero name.
It is, isn't it?
Matt Steele. Yeah,
What's
I
your
really
name?
like that.
Matt Steele.
Matt Steele.
Go in. Don't need to see your ticket.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Matt. Very cool. Right, Series 12.
Series 12. I think they will, but they're taking the blimmin' long time about it. But I'll be surprised. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised because it's the BBC. But I think they'd be stupid if they didn't produce more.
Are we talking about the Season 12 Classic Who?
The Blu-ray set that no one can get hold of. It's £400 on Amazon.
Crikey. Right.
What I don't get is I know they're working on the new Blu-ray sets, but it's already there to be repressed. I don't understand why they can't just, even if they don't do the limited packaging, I don't understand why they don't just release a regular release for those that want it. But
yeah,
who knows what goes on in the mind of the BBC marketing team. But yeah, I'm sure at some point they will.
Yeah, I would hope so, Matt. We can't say yes or no for sure, but we would hope that they would. I mean, I think the whole point of these, to begin with, it's labelled up as limited edition, so you have to sort of jump on the train to get it. But there's no reason why they can't release it in, just like Adam said, a standard with the non-limited edition packaging. So you still get all the same discs and everything. You just don't get it in the flashy container, so to speak.
And they're actually losing money because the amount of people I've said that, well, I'm not going to bother buying the other two because there's no point if I can't have the whole series.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people are not buying season 18, 19 because they don't want to be missing one. I mean, I'd be like that. I think if how OCD I am, I think if I was missing 12, I'd be like that as well. I'd be thinking, no, it'd drive me mad having that gap. So surely they must release it. We haven't heard anything. We keep badgering Lee Binding to give us. We keep saying to him, "Get onto them, Lee, and tell them more people." But he's, the artist Lee Binding. But we don't know. We just don't know.
We hope so. Yeah. But thank you very much for your review, Matt. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, cheers, Matt.
Thank you. Over on Twitter, our writer Jordan Shortman, who released a really good review on our website for a Big Finish story the other day.
Yes.
The comedian story. Yeah. Go check that out. But he said about this story, it's a fairly decent episode, a good one for Tosh, but like much of season 1, it falls by the wayside slightly. I think the alien is the same as the one in the SJA, the garden invasion of the Bane, but otherwise a fairly bland outing. Tosh gets much better in series 2! ! Jack, Twitter name @Hooverneer, says, it's quite a good story. It gives Tosh the spotlight for a change and actually gives us a glimpse into her life. I love the nice hint to SJA with the villain as well. 7.5.
7.5, right?
Spencer Shively says, glad you didn't skip this one. Tosh is annoying me, the least of the team members. So honestly, really enjoyed we focus on her in this episode. Totally over Gwen and Owen thing. Cheesy in parts, but even my girlfriend was enjoying it. Torchwood only gets better from here. 8 rusty ship props out of 10. What else have we got? Sir Jake B says, really good story. I love Tosh and I love how much character development she gets in this one. Mary is also good. They shouldn't have done that. They should have done what they did in series 1 of Torchwood for series 11 of Doctor Who and had an episode dedicated to each character. Ooh. Jake.
Yes.
Yeah, you want something there. Gives it an 8 out of 10.
Maybe they will in series 12.
Maybe. Who knows? Let's have a look. Kate Cat 0703 says, so happy that the episode is Tosh focused, as until this we barely got a real look at her character. Episode itself has some nice moments, and I'm quite fond of Tosh being able to read the thoughts of others. Who else have we got? Lastly, Edward Giluli on Twitter says, one of the few episodes of Torchwood I remember. Daniela Denby Ash is memorable in it. Torchwood was often hit and miss, but I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, okay.
And a couple over on Facebook. Joseph Howarth says, this was a corker of a story. We got Tosh being the main focus and getting more character development. Mary was certainly a very complex villain, and she pretty much had me guessing on what she wanted to do next. One of the better episodes of season 1, and it's now become a favourite of mine. A 9 out of 10.
That's a good point, actually, about guessing what she wanted to do. I liked that. She kind of just smouldered in the background, didn't she? Rather than it sort of, it's a villainous, she's taken over the world thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And Andrew Cuthbert, lastly on Facebook, says, I loved it. Lots of subplots going on and nice little character pieces, especially the family towards the end. And Tosh saving the day when the husband returns home. Villain is interesting too. Nice multi-dimensional character, and the first Torchwood story in the first series has a bit more meat on the bones. 9 flirty pendants out of 10. That's exactly what I thought, Andrew. It's like the first one in the series that we've come to, for me anyway, where there's just a bit more substance to it, a bit more going on.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's going to do for reviews. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to send in your stuff. Next week, we are going back to newer Doctor Who. What is it next week, buddy?
So next week, 11th Doctor story, closing time.
Closing time.
It's closing time. Doctor's here to help. Yeah.
James Corden, right?
James Corden.
In this one, I think.
Yes, he's in it. Cybermen, I think, turn up for a minute or two, from
Cameo.
what I remember. Yeah. So yes, it'd be interesting rewatch. Have we done? Let's say I need to find the schedule now. Have we done the other one with James Corden? I've forgotten what it's called.
We have not. I don't think.
Let's have a look. I'm looking at the. Oh no, we have. Blimey, The Lodger. There you go.
The Lodger. We have.
Yeah, we did
Sorry,
it back in whenever, episode 43. So we have reviewed The Lodger. Can't remember what we scored it. Seem to remember we quite liked it because Matt does all his gadget making and stuff in that one, doesn't he? So don't know. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see this follow up, if you like, sort of follow up, isn't it?
It's a sort
of. I remember that it doesn't solve the whole. Do you remember there was a whole thing about the top floor of his house in The Lodger? And we never really got any answers, and I don't think this one has any relevance to that from what I remember. But
yeah, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting to see those two back together again.
Indeedy, yes. So next week will be closing time, the 11th Doctor. So get that watched because we'll be asking for your reviews as always. And don't leave Sammy and Matt hanging. The only ones doing the audio clips. Get your phone out or your computer, whatever. Send us in an audio clip. We'd love to hear your voice. We love hearing from you guys. And we played them all out. So, yoth. And I think we're going to wrap there, Budge, for 225.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with us and listening to episode 225. It's awesome to have you on board, as always, chatting through some decent some news. Remember, if you're up for some work experience, if you've not got much going on at the moment, get your CV over to that address we mentioned. So you can potentially get some work experience working with the series production Doctor Who. Get it sorted. Next week, we're going to be reviewing the 11th Doctor story Closing Time, so get that watched because we'll be asking for your reviews on that. In the meantime, head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our shows on there. Plus, it has links to go off to all of the various podcast networks, so you can subscribe to the show on whatever preferred network you use. We're on most of them, and our shows drop every Friday morning, so you won't miss one. iTunes is our main network, I suppose, if you want to call it. There's a big button there to link off to that, and if you are an iTunes listener, if you could spare a minute for a review, that would be amazing because that helps us out lots. There's also buttons there to link off to the various social networks, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. We chat Doctor Who in the week, so get involved over there. Jump over to YouTube, do a search for The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, go and have a look at The Geek's Handbag.
Loads of really cool videos on Adam's channel. Give him a subscribe on there. And he's also on all of the social networks under the same name, The Geek's Handbag. Give him a like and a follow and just jump in on the community. We've got some really cool community that chat lots of Doctor Who. It's very, very
Yes, indeed.
Until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,